Hello, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Well, there was 4 lights on here before, Sean. Now there's only 3.
According to the
Now there's now the one on the end came on, but the second one in went off.
must be batteries.
Hello, hello. Okay, if everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to? We have 4 sets of minutes. So, for the first one, we already did. That was at 6:45. So we have the first set of minutes from September 10th, public hearing on the water tower. Any questions on that? Okay. Next set of minutes is the public hearing on local law number 1 of 2025 from September 10th. Any comments on that? Very good. Next, board meeting from September 10th. Any comments on that, on those minutes? Very good. And then the last set was the special board meeting of September 22nd. Do we have any comments on that? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the minutes as they are? Margaret, and who seconds? Kurt second. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay, next. We have bills. Everybody had a chance to review the bills. Thing we did with Any other questions?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to talk about
You got questions on the bills? This is the time for
I think for that floodplain discussion that we've been having, we paid a pretty exorbitant amount to move this thing through. And it's not done yet, and it shouldn't be that hard. I don't know if have you guys looked at it, or did you see it? Am I the only one that
I've looked at it.
thought it was a little bit high?
I do, but
Okay.
look at, there's a couple of them here that you got charged to the town. Review and respond to town board member McKenna email regarding FEMA law and FOIL, $192.50. And the other one is review and respond to town board member McKenna email regarding flood damage prevention law. I thought we had agreed that questions would come from Sean or the board as a whole, not individuals.
I don't ever recall that, but I'm under the, it's kind of like if we're doing our jobs and we have questions and it's, it's going to be a lawyer question, trying to take care of these things. I'm just, I don't know why. I mean, I got the, I don't know if we want to go right through the whole thing. I think we probably should. At our workshop, I guess we'll go through the whole thing and just set it up.
Well, but we went through this over a year ago when you went down and represented the board as a Heritage Wind, I don't know what you want to label it, but that, we had decided at that time, questions for our attorney would come from Sean or the board as a total. I'm sorry you didn't remember it, but
I don't know what you're talking about there. Okay, what was that?
Because so many people were contacting our attorneys at that time. Multiple questions were being thrown out, that it was decided that any questions to our legal representation, town legal representation, should come through the supervisor or the whole board as a whole. We put together a question and submit it, like from a workshop. Not an individual contacting one other, because, as Kirk is pointing out, it's run up quite a bill.
Well, that's
It's not a small amount when you take a look at all the times that you've contacted them. I mean, that's all taxpayer dollars right there, whereas we could have, if we wanted, at a workshop, we could have requested that our legal representation come in and we could have a discussion with them. Multiple discussion, I mean, multiple items.
did send out. I got this one. I think it's this one's not working. Hello. Hello. Is the battery? I guess not.
or needs a battery.
Yeah. See if that one needs a battery. So as far as it wasn't multiple times contacting the attorney. I did send out an email, and then I sent out a clarification and more questions. I'd be glad to point out when I did send it was
It's
right
here.
after
If you're
a
looking at the bills,
work.
you can see it. Your name is on it. There's two of them.
Yeah, I just said there was
And
a
I don't
call.
know how many other ones on there are related to that.
That's back to the town when we were going through this, and that's why I'm saying this
think
is
a lot
kind
them
of
are
being a little
related to
bit.
your two questions, or your two that have the name on
One,
it, George.
right. There was a question that I asked, and then there was a follow-up clarification question that I asked, which I really didn't get clarified until last meeting, just before the meeting. And I asked, and she was able to clarify that to me shortly. So I don't know the time-wise frame, I think is a little bit warped on how much time is taken to ask the questions. The reason that I went with it was this was from the workshop, and then I didn't receive um, so we could go over it. I never received the red line version. Then I got the red line version. I looked through it,
And
then
how
I had
many
questions.
times, and you were sitting right there when I sent it to you.
I didn't get it, remember?
I'm just pointing out, it's not like it was not sent to you, remember?
At the workshop, I didn't have it. And I said, I don't have it, you'll have to send it to me.
And I
And
did,
it-
right
and it
then
did-
and there.
And I didn't, and then it
I
got
can't
through to
help
me the
that
next
part,
day.
but I just don't want it to
It's
be
the same
implied that
way-
nobody shared that information with you,
It's
George.
the same way that, what did we work on just the budget? And I didn't have the budget.
Well, then maybe you need to take a little drive over to C&H and have them check out your computer to find out why you're not getting information, because everybody else is.
I'm getting them from other information. It seems like whenever we have a discussion at the workshop.
And a lot of this stuff is sent to the file server here. So you've got to get into that and take a look at.
Well, but I did get it, went through it. I go like, but anyway, let's get back to this. FEMA. What are we gonna call it? FEMA floodplain damage.
The
what-
flood damage
flood
prevention
damage
law.
prevention.
Are you going to talk about the billing or about the FEMA local law 2?
Well, the local law 2.
We talk
is what's-
about later under new business.
And it's okay. That's what I asked
You're
when I
talking
started.
about billing. I said billing. This is where you talk about the billing.
So the billing comes from questions and discussion. So, like I said at the beginning, do you want me to just wait and discuss this then, or do you want me to go through and look at the billing?
I want you to look through the billing.
Okay.
That's what we're covering right now.
All right.
Yeah,
Very simple.
So,
are there questions on the bill
Yes.
itself?
okay. So, yeah, I don't think that the time is right. I sent the question out, and got a response back. Okay, half an hour or whatever it was. That's fine. Then the next one, I asked for clarification. I never got a response from that, but I talked to you. I got it, but I didn't have time. It came in right before the meeting, and I worked Wednesdays, and I never saw it. So that's why I asked you about it, and you clarified it to me fairly quickly. Okay.
I think I did email you back, but yeah, we did talk about it here.
And so from your clarification, I got that you sent it in the DEC. The other things that we're talking about are additional language, and it's optional ones that you could put in. So I thought, yeah, so we got the optional language. Looking at it, I thought it was good. We discussed it at the meeting and said, yes, let's go ahead and we voted on it, put it on, but then Margaret wasn't sure. She hadn't looked at it and that, so we needed to look into it further. I believe Sean or somebody said, look into it further. The cost for looking into it further is, and again, I don't know why. I mean, I guess we should have clarified that, and in the future, maybe we can. We're looking into it. I don't know. To look into it and see what the other towns did, I thought was a quick, did you guys do the extra optional equipment? Maybe you could call their different lawyers and say, nope, we never even gave them that option. Never put it in as an option. But to go in and get a survey of no and blah, 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 and then have a bill for $520 and $302.50 and $517.50 and other numerous ones, and we still haven't, passed this thing or discussed it. To me, and this is where I'm going to talk about the bill itself, so maybe I should just say that that's as much as the billing I want to, and then we can talk about that when we get to that part. So to me, I'd say maybe on this billing part, we should hold off on that part with the Bridget and until we discuss it and see what we want to do with the law.
Two things I'd like to correct you on. One, you said we voted on it. We did not vote on anything about the extra. We said we'd like to look at both sets. We did not vote, so that was incorrect. The other part is you made reference about contacting other towns and see how they felt about it.
I don't
And
believe I
we
made that reference.
received from Bridget where they contacted 4 villages and 9 towns. 2 villages did not respond to the inquiry. All of them, 2 villages, 9 towns, all said that they did not include the extra verbiage. And you received that just like all the rest of us did.
Yes. So I will
Okay.
correct you on that. I think we need to go back and watch the video as far as who said to contact the other towns. And that's another problem I have, I guess, as long as I bring it up. We had no idea how much that was going to cost. I think we need to find out what these things are going to cost before
You
we
just
just
got done
flippantly out there and
saying that
saying.
we should do that.
No,
You
I
find
did
more
not.
ways to spend money and delay things than anybody I've ever met. So, moving
No.
on, you're done with the billing part, you said. So, do I hear a motion to accept the
I
bills
have
then?
another
Hang-
thing to go
I'm
with.
not done yet, Sean, hold on.
Yeah, good. And
On JS, who's JS? I get Bridget Cook, Bridget O'Toole, who's JS?
Jennifer Spencer, paralegal.
Okay, so it's 4.5 hours, $115. It come to $517. Prepare and compile FEMA flood law comparison to other towns in Orleans County. Was that because George asked for that information?
I did not ask for that
I
information.
I don't believe it was specific from that email. At the last board meeting, we had talked about how a lot of the other towns went through the county planning board and to compare them. The comparison did maybe take longer than we had thought because it took longer but there were no parameters. So to George's point, if we assign us a task, we can put a monetary value if that makes the board feel better. But that is instructions left at the last board meeting that people were interested in that because there was so much uncertainty of whether we should add in this language and felt more comfortable doing that. So the board did receive that work product. It did take a while to get that and review. I apologize if the board feels that too much time was spent doing that, but that was instructed to us. But that was from the board meeting. That was not a separate request from George specifically.
Maybe just in the future, just get a rough estimate of the task at hand, so we know exactly whether or not to move forward for the monetary end of it.
Sure. Yep. When we understood it was a larger task, we could have done that. I apologize.
The other thing I was going to finish up with my comments on the bills, as far as same comment I have before. As far as the VFW donation, I don't think a town should do donations to organizations. It's donating taxpayer money that I don't think we have the right to do that.
Didn't we
Same
discussed
thing I
that
said.
and voted on it?
It's the same thing I say every year.
Kurt, as Kurt pointed out, it was something that was discussed years ago, and we voted to do this for the VFW only. They are the ones that go on out and put the bronze stars in the different grave sites. You know how much those bronze stars cost? $200 is a pittance. If you don't want to pay the VFW, I'm sure a lot of veterans would love to hear that.
I didn't say I wanted to. I said as a town.
We don't do it for anybody else. We do just the VFW.
Other well-deserving organization comes forward, we can be on thin ice. Just pointing it out as I do every year.
Okay. Anything else with the bills? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Are we going to pay the
Yes.
lawyer fees?
Second? Dave and Margaret? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm
Okay. Moving on. Hemlock Ridge Solar. We're going to be addressing, I probably should have put it under old business, but I have it under the new business. I'll save it for the new business. It has to do with the road use agreement that we've gone over and verbally we have accepted. We'll do that under new business then. Otherwise, nothing else out of Hemlock Ridge. Oh, I did receive notification that Hemlock Ridge is planning on doing the trees up to maybe 5 acres of trees that will be cut down in latter part of February, and they're going to start construction April 1st of 2026. Anything other than that? Did you know, Bridget?
Just that every quarter we have to do our funding reports, so we'll have to submit one this quarter from the
Okay.
town.
John, I think it was January, February, not April.
Not the letter I got.
Yeah.
Start the construction in April,
Yeah.
after
Okay.
April 1st. Baird Solar Project, they had a ribbon cutting. Both the Baird family and the Bobacher family were there. It was attended by Margaret, myself, and a few other community members. It was a nice turnout. Nice, basically all you did was shake hands, say hi, how are you, and talk about no rain. But it was a very nice turnout. Heritage Wind. Anything, George?
Yeah, I'm in correspondence with Brian O'Shea. He's working with me on the feasibility of the project and where we are with it. The only thing as we were going through that probably the town, the new B150 4.5 megahertz, the one that it may be going in that, the sound on that is 107.6 decibels. If we go back to Dr. Hall's little 7-page report on sound, I wish there was a formulation or something to see what the setback would be for that, the doubling. I Googled and I got some 6 foot for every doubling, and Google it worked out to 70 decibels at our 1500 setback, which isn't good, but I'm not saying that that's right. So if anybody has any way we can reach Dr. Hall or have him check on that, or I don't want to have it spend any money. I mean, we've already, that cost us $50,000, and didn't cost us, Heritage paid $50,000 for that 7-page paper that supposedly he worked 4 months on, exclusively. It'd be nice to get some extra information. That's what I'm working on.
Anything on your end, Bridget?
Just again that we'll have to file that quarterly report for Heritage as well.
Comprehensive plan is sitting on the back burner for right now because of all these local laws and the budget at this time. Water District number 10. We have to do another motion grant agreement with water or with rural development. Unfortunately, we're duplicating work that we've done years before because this thing has taken so long. So, Town of Barry Town Board resolution regarding the water and waste system grant agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Utilities Service. Whereas on the town whereas on the town of Berry entered into a water and waste system grant agreement with Rural Development Service, Department of Agriculture, to assist with the financial costs of Water District Number 10, and whereas the town of Berry has to enter into a new agreement to reflect the cost overrun obligation, and now therefore the town board of the town of Berry hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the revised water waste system grant agreement reflecting the cost overrun obligation. That's the resolution. Do I hear a second?
No second.
Kirk, any discussion?
Kirk.
Kirk second. I made. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, now, as I had mentioned before, I should have put it under old business, but here it is. Road use agreement. I am making a resolution for the adoption of the town board of the town of Berry, resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute a road use repair and improvements agreement with Hemlock Ridge Solar LLC. Whereas Hemlock Ridge Solar LLC, Hemlock Ridge is developing a solar generating facility in the town of Berry, and in connection with the development, construction, operation, maintenance, and decommissioning of the solar project may cause damage to the town's roads, and whereas the town of Berry and Hemlock Ridge wish to enter into an agreement for the use, repair, and improvement of the roads by Hemlock Ridge for the town to seek guarantees and assurances from Hemlock Ridge that Hemlock Ridge will pay and or otherwise indemnify the town from any damage from construction activities. And whereas a copy of the proposed road use, repair, and improvements agreement between the Hemlock Ridge and the town of Berry is attached hereto, and now therefore the town board resolves to authorize the town supervisor to execute the road use, repair, and improvements agreement on behalf of the town of Berry. Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Kirk seconds. Now, any discussion?
Yes. So, again, I just got the road use agreement. It didn't come to me. And that's funny how?
Just you, George. Go ahead. Go ahead, George.
Hopefully, if I could have got this stuff, maybe I would have had this set. We could have
Maybe you
discussed
spent
it at the
some
workshop.
time. Well, go ahead, George. Go ahead, George.
No, sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said maybe if you spent some time instead of at a board meeting, when you finally go through all your paperwork and everything, do it. What is your question on the road use agreement?
Okay, I didn't get the road use agreement to have it ready for the workshop. So that's why I didn't have my questions at that time. You get a chance now to go through it because I got it the other morning. One of the things that I'm wondering about is why we're allowing deliveries till 8 p.m. And also holidays.
That is
Why
a
is it under
generic
delivery?
time zone. They said that they would do it during regular business hours, but sometimes deliveries do come late.
And that's right, and that's what was said in there, but if you got it till 8, it's like that's their normal business time now. I don't know, I think that for the people in the community and moving forward with other, road use agreements that we're gonna have, I think that 8 o'clock and holidays, I think the people would appreciate not having deliveries and large trucks and that going through at that time.
So you take no deliveries after 5 p.m. at your office. You take no deliveries on Saturdays or Sundays. You take no deliveries on holidays then at your office. Good.
I don't have large tractor trailers and that coming in.
That's
Never
not the
either.
point.
Well, I think that's why you have when deliveries are going to be made in there.
You're
Okay,
assuming.
so-
They're saying if this were to have to take place. I mean, how many guys on a holiday, you take a look at up here in Elba, drive through there on a holiday, that place is a graveyard up there. There's nobody around.
I appreciate that, but it's in there for holidays and up till 8 p.m. I'm just wondering why it's in there like that. You know, why it's exemption.
Okay, go on. Next question.
Um, the other thing was with the cables that are going over the road, there was no on height. Is that a problem or why was it
I personally wasn't the one working on this agreement, but as far as your first question, I'm sure it was to give them a buffer because deliveries do come after 5, and that's just typical. And then as far as the height, I don't think that's necessary, an ad for the road use agreement.
okay, all right. And then the other thing I think is something that's outside of the box, and maybe this isn't where we need to go with it, but I'm thinking if they're going through and the roads are closed for any period of time, and how or who do we talk about for compensating for businesses and lost revenue? My example would be if, for some reason they got the road blocked for 48 hours and cars, they can't come and pick up the milk, the cars have to dump that load of milk. We don't have a lot of businesses in town of Berry, but if we're gonna be using the same one, and when they get to doing the wind turbine, the roads are closed for an extended period of time in East Berry, I'd be a little bit upset if I, didn't have, loss of business on a short-term road, didn't get any money. So, is there any, is this where we would deal with compensation for businesses, or is that another area?
I don't think it would go in here. This is strictly about the,
Where do you think it would?
I'm not sure, but this is about the road repair and maintenance and to help the town like split those funds, so
But
it's
with
not
road
really for
closures,
private businesses.
road closures too.
Road closures will be ones that are planned ahead of time. They will also be planned in conjunction with, um, Dale, what's that term? The gentleman or woman, designee. The designee will be working with them, and if they're, let's say, Hemlock Ridge Road itself will be closed down between 10 and 12 on a certain date, then the designee through the town, our website, we will send out that word. And it'll be in advance. Will it be a last minute, oh, we're going to do this? No. That was the agreement that we had in having our conferences with them. They said no, it would be all planned ahead of time.
So I guess my question is, who do you contact, for that, for like Albion projects, county projects, Mr. Ike? I'm gonna, when I know that they can get around to the businesses, and I know it's just, disadvantage or,
Notification is
But-
also sent
but if-
to the emergency board.
okay. But if they close completely a road or section and a business is in there, is there any compensations that you know in the past that has happened? No. Okay. Well, yeah, but it's an inconvenience. I mean, because you can still get to those businesses, but I'm talking about if something happened where they would be completely closed off from traffic, a business.
I don't know. I know, but you're not close enough.
All right. So those are my 3 questions. And I just, working through them, I have questions.
Okay.
PSP that you know something's coming before it comes? 'Cause I don't.
Every month you don't get things. You gotta get it figured out why you aren't getting them. Get it fixed.
Okay, we had the motion, we had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next. Part 2 of the seeker for local law number 1. In the first column here, will it impose action, create a material conflict with an adapted land use? Remember, this is a law. Planning or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in change in the use and intensity of the use of land? No. All of them are all labeled no. All those 11. Under part 3, this box, check the box that says that we have determined based on the information and analysis above and any supporting documentation that the proposed action will not result in a significant adverse environmental impact. So therefore, adoption of the town board, the resolution I am making, the town of Barry, of a resolution adopting a negative declaration for the environmental significance for the proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 1 of 2025, Town of Barry, Notice of Defects Law under seeker. Whereas on or about August 13th, 2025, the town board of the town of Barry introduced a proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 1, 2025, Town of Barry, Notice of Defects Law. And whereas the town of Barry has identified a need to provide for written notification of defects and obstruction on town highways, bridges, streets, sidewalks, crosswalks, and culverts, and whereas on August 13th, 2025, the town board of the town of Barry referred the local law to the Orleans County Planning Agency pursuant to GML 239-M, and whereas the Orleans County Planning Board recommends approval, and whereas the town board adopted a resolution on August 13, 2025, which classified the local law as an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act seeker, whereas the town board has prepared a short environmental assessment form which is attached here too, and whereas the town board assumed the lead agency status pursuant to 6 NYCRR, whereas the town board has considered the content of the proposal local law, the SEAF communications from interested agencies, and whereas the town board has considered any relevant public input, and whereas the town board has thoroughly analyzed the relevant concerns discussed in the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and has determined that no significant adverse environmental impacts will result from the proposed local law. And now, therefore, the town board hereby finds that enactment of the proposed local law will not have any significant adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore the town board further resolves to adopt a negative declaration of environmental significance with respect to the adoption of the proposed local law, and therefore the town board hereby adopts the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and incorporates it herein. Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Thereby now, adoption of the town board of the town of Barry of a resolution adopting the proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 1 of 2025, Town of Barry, Notice of Defects Law. Whereas on or about August 13th, 2025, the town board of the town of Barry, the town board introduce the proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 1 of 2025, Town of Berry Notice of Defects Law. And whereas the town board referred the proposed local law to the Orleans County Planning Agency. Whereas the Orleans County Planning Board recommended approval. Whereas on August 13th, 2025, the town board adopted a resolution which classified the local law as an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. Whereas the town board prepared a short environmental assessment form, and whereas the town board issued a negative declaration of environmental significance and passed a resolution adopting said negative declaration. And whereas the town board has satisfied its obligation under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and now therefore it is resolved that the town board hereby approves and adopts the local law providing a process for notice of defects which repeals and replaces Town Code Chapter 226. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Next is the part 2, seeker, for local law number 2, having to do with the floodplain. Once again, this is on a law. So in that questions 1 through 11, does it have any impact, the intensity, wastewater treatment utilities, it's all checked as no. Therefore, this box, if you determined, based on the information and analysis above and any supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. So moving on, adoption by the town board of the town of Berry of a resolution adopting a negative declaration of the environmental significance for the proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 2 of 2025, Flood Damage Prevention, under seeker. Whereas on or about September 10th, 2025, the town board of the town of Berry introduced proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 2 of 2025, Town of Berry Flood Damage Prevention. And whereas the town of Berry has identified potential or actual damages from flooding, and erosion, and is in need of a local law to minimize the threat of such damages. And whereas to maintain eligibility in the National Flood Program, the town must enact the required regulations, flood insurance study, and flood insurance rate maps. Whereas on September 10th, 2025, the town board of the town of Berry referred the local law to the Orleans County Planning Agency pursuant to GML 239-M, and whereas the Orleans County Planning Board recommends approval. And whereas the town board adopted a resolution on September 10th, 2025, which classified the local law as an unclassified action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whereas the town board has prepared a short environmental assessment form, which is attached here too, and whereas the town board assumed lead agency status pursuant to 6 NYCRR, whereas the town board has considered the content of the proposed local law, the communications from interested agencies, and whereas the town board has considered any relevant public input, and whereas the town board has thoroughly analyzed the relevant concerns discussed in the attached negative declaration of environmental significance, and has determined that no significant adverse environmental impacts will result from the proposed local law, and now therefore the town board hereby finds that enactment of the proposed local law will not have any significant adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore the town board further resolves to adopt a negative declaration of the environmental significance with respect to the adoption of this proposed local law. And therefore, the town board hereby adopts the attached negative declaration of environmental significance and incorporates it herein. Do I hear a second? Margaret seconds. Discussion.
Yes. I guess so we're talking about moving through this flood damage prevention. Is this the law that deals with the language that we were discussing today?
Yep.
And so this law was passed by us, as you said, last month. That's what I said. You said, no, it wasn't passed.
It was.
It
Sorry.
was passed with the language that we, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Great.
But it was not passed. For local law, we had to introduce it. We had to start seeker. We did the unlisted, and we set the public hearing for tonight. This is the part 2. Every local law, there's at least 2 meetings. Start introduction, starting seeker, classifying it, setting public hearing. We had the public hearing. This is the adoption. So we did not adopt it. We decided to do the entire language when we sent it to county planning. That was the decision because we weren't sure on what language we were adopting tonight.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about, because didn't you say that it went to the county already, and that they looked at it and approved it?
Yep, you just heard me read that.
Right, so they approved the language that we said with the added option.
Their recommendation was approval. They've also recommended approval to all those other municipalities in the county that didn't have the language.
Right. But so if we change the language, would it have to go back?
No, that's why we decided to include all of it last time so that we would be safe if we took it out instead of the opposite.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to clarify that and clear it up.
Okay. This has to do with the seeker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Negative declaration. I moved it. Kirk second. And once again, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next, the adoption. I make the resolution that we adopt the adoption by the town board of the town of Barry of a resolution adopting the proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 2 of 2025, Flood Damage Prevention. Whereas on or about September 10th, 2025, the town board of the town of Barry introduced a proposed local law entitled Local Law Number 2 of 2025, Flood Damage Prevention, and whereas the town board referred and proposed local law to the Orleans County Planning Agency, whereas the Orleans County Planning Board recommended approval, and whereas on September 10, 2025, the town board adopted a resolution which classified the local law as an unlisted action under the seeker, whereas the town board prepared a short environmental assessment form, and whereas the town board issued a negative declaration of environmental significance and passed a resolution adopting said negative declaration, and whereas the town board has satisfied its obligations under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the town board hereby approves and adopts the local law for flood damage prevention without the additional optional language and repealing and replacing the existing Chapter 175 of the Town Code of the Town of Barry.
I think we should take and have the language in as we voted.
One second, George.
Okay.
Do I hear a second? Margaret, second. Now, discussion.
Okay, I think we should have it put in there as we voted on it last month with having the optional language in there. I don't know how you can just, when we voted to have it in there and just say, nope, we're going to send it through without. So
What we sent to county was with the additional verbiage, and they had approved it. Now, county planning board sends back their recommendations. Do we have to follow every single thing that they say?
Did
No.
they have any recommendations to change it?
Their recommendation was they approved.
Yeah.
So if we do not approve it with the additional language, when I send back, I've got a little yellow sheet I've got to fill out and send back to them. I can say that we did accept it without the additional language.
Why would we do that when we saw the additional language and it was for the benefit of the people?
How is it beneficial for the
Our
people?
attorney wants to speak on this
Okay.
issue.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to interrupt. As we talked about before, some people hadn't read the redlined version. Some people had just seen it before the meeting. So they were unsure what version to send to the county. At the last board meeting, we decided to send it with all of the language so that we were covered while we decided what version to send. We did not decide to send to the county because of, from my understanding, a preference over the other. It was mostly for everybody to be able to review who hadn't, cover us, because if we added that language in later without the county, that could create some issues. Taking it out is not. The county planning board recommends approval, but you can make some changes. It depends how substantial they are. And from my legal opinion, removing that language is not substantial with their recommendations, especially as they have recommended approval for every single other law that does not have that language in this county.
Can I ask you a question? When you asked for that, if they did that or not, and it cost the town quite a bit of money, did the boards get the option of that other language? Was that ever presented to them that there was an option?
I'm sure it was. I don't know what their attorney talked to them about, but that's the whole packet from DEC.
Right, but as it's presented, we wouldn't have got the whole, it was just like, okay, this is what the state says to do, and this is what we go with. We would have saw the optional language, I don't think the other towns did.
I'm not going to
You're
comment
assuming.
on what
I'm
other
assuming.
towns talk to
I'm
their town
assuming.
attorneys about.
Because when you do get the optional language, you said, told me that you kind of went overboard or they put that in there. And maybe I'm paraphrasing. But it was like, okay, we saw it. Maybe if we never saw it, yeah, we would have just passed it and been done. When you see the extra language and there's things in there that I think are of benefit to the town. One being if they're going to do limited construction in there, number one. Number two is when they bring, if they do any work in there, they have to replace it and do a better job for the wetlands and build it back up. I think that's a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer to not allow critical facilities like schools, firehouses, and senior citizen homes. Not senior citizen, but that they talk about. And I don't have. I was just trying to pull it up real quick, and I will find it here in a second. But the main one I saw was the energy storage or energy generating or battery storage. And it's like that's something that we just finished the comprehensive plan. That's something that the town does not want as far as the majority of the people said no to it. And this is something, hey, we can add this and say, yeah, we agree. We're going to stand by what the town wants and say no battery storage in this area. I don't think it's any big, I don't know why this is becoming a great big huge thing and costing a ton of money when it looks like it's just common sense. And that's when I'm really having a hard time. And I guess I just need somebody to say, geez, no, George, we can't do that because, and there's no reason why we can't.
Is there any price difference between the two proposals to put through? I mean, apples to apples.
From a legal standpoint, yes.
Correct.
If you add the additional language in, there's extra steps with the state because we're going above the uniform construction codes. We'd have to permit, we'd have to explain why we need these extra things, and the flood maps and what's in Barry, in my opinion, isn't necessary. It doesn't mean we wouldn't get that permit or they wouldn't get approved, but yes, there is a whole extra process if we added the additional language in.
Okay, okay, not to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm
No,
sorry.
Go ahead. Finish
What do
it,
you mean
Dave.
why?
No,
That I didn't.
I was gonna say to put you on the spot a little bit, like we talked earlier about giving a rough estimate of how much time would be involved. Can you, if we did do that, what would the dollar figure roughly be? Obviously, not holding you to it.
I truly don't know. I have not gone through the process with the
You've
state.
never done that part of it.
No, I haven't. I can, of course, look into it. Um,
But
we
it is
can
a-
adopt it and look at the permit later, but we do have to adopt the law by October 15th, or then we may be in jeopardy of the flood insurance. With DEC, we have to adopt a law by October 15th.
But there would definitely be an added cost.
Correct. I don't know what that is, and I can certainly get back to the board if we decide to put that language in, but I've never done that process
Okay.
in my explanations with DEC, which is part of why they said, hey, just so you know, this language is in there. It might not need to be. There's this whole extra process. They didn't find it necessary. Um, so there's that. And then just back to, I am very uncomfortable with putting on the record what other towns were told or not told. So I don't think we can talk about that.
Let me chime in. What Green Energy Company, battery storage, would be foolish enough to put it down there on the muck or in a floodplain anyway.
Exactly.
And
So
they
why
wouldn't,
not
they
have it
wouldn't
in
have,
there?
insurance would never even cover. I don't want to do this because down there on the muck, there's storages, there's farmers doing things. I don't want to block that.
Okay, let me read what it says, and you tell me if there's anywhere that it's going to block that. In order to prevent potential flood damage to certain facilities that would result in serious dangers to life and health or widespread social or economic dislocation, no new critical facility shall be located within any area of special flood hazard or within any 500-year flood zone shown, B zone or shadow flood insurance. And if you go to the definitions of structures of critical facilities, structures or facilities that produce, use, or store highly volatile, flammable, explosive, toxic, or waste reactive materials. Do we want that in our area? Do the muckers want that in the area? Is there anything there that hospitals, nursing homes, housing likely to contain occupants who may not be sufficiently mobile to avoid death or injury during a flood? Police stations, fire stations, vehicle and equipment storage facilities, and emergency operation centers that are needed for flood response activities for, during, and after a flood. Public and private utility facilities that are vital to maintaining and restoring normal services to flooded areas. Don't see anything there that the rest of that, I mean, I can read it. Whenever any portion of a floodplain is authorized for development, the volume of space occupied by the authorized fill or structure below the base flood elevation shall be compensated for and balanced by hydraulically equivalent volume of excavation taken from below the base flood elevation or adjacent to the development site. All such excavations shall be constructed to drain freely to the watercourse. No area beyond the water line of a pond or other body of water can be credited as or compensating excavation. So the way I read that, and again, is, you know, if you're taking topsoil out or you're taking fill out and stuff, you need to bring it back in. That's a no-brainer. I don't know. I mean, I saw this when you said, okay, this was the language, and oh, we want to take this language out. I looked at it and I just thought about that one more way we can help with the battery storage. I'm sorry, this has really, I did not think it was going to be a big thing. I did not think it was going to get this costly. I don't understand. And I'm really kind of still don't understand why it is so costly and why it seems like common sense. Nobody has given me a reason why this is a bad thing to put in.
Because our attorney suggested we don't put it in there. And we paid a lot of money as we went over the bills and you saw it. You know what? I call the question.
I don't, I can't think of reason off the top of my head why it couldn't be amended later on and added in, as long as we passed a law to deal with the DEC deadline of October 15th. I would think so, yes.
Having it in there
Or, well,
would be easier.
no, she's saying adding it in at a later date, she said. Then removing it at a later date.
It's analysis of it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I call the question. Let's vote. We've discussed it. We're not gonna change George's.
But I would like, go ahead, Dave, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say,
Correct. As far as I know, yes. Yes.
Now, also, George, I,
Don't recognize Steve, I'll recognize you.
There was provisions in there that you had to get, when we adopted the state law, that you had to get DEC approval in there. And if they allowed it to go to flood zone, and I looked it up again a while ago because someone asked that question. It had to be, you had to build it up above elevation. So the facility itself could not be. And again, I don't know what law you're talking about, but I think the reason why they don't put their language in, Georgie, is because it's already addressed with the other laws. Like they're not going to allow, like I know on the battery storage, it can't be in a flood zone unless you build it up. So it's no longer at that flood zone build up. That's all I got. I mean, like I just want to help if that helps. I remember that one because we voted on it. That was the DEC had to be involved, and normally they won't.
Stephen.
So the local law, so they have all the facilities can't be there?
Everything you said right in there.
So we just go for it the way, there will be additional language, and it won't be, it's already in there. And it'll just be consistent.
One thing, George, you have been so astute of making sure you know everything, especially about wind turbines, is that
That's
when these energy, excuse me, when these energy storage units are set up, are they set up out in Timbuktu or are they set up near a facility where the energy is converted?
Hopefully near a facility.
Where it's being converted. For us in our town, where is that?
Pretty much all of East Berry, all of where the
No,
solar is.
you got to be more specific. Like down on Pusey Road, like down on Burns Road.
Well,
Okay, those are where the two facilities. So if there were a battery storage, which we had already agreed in our host community agreement with both companies, there would not be any battery storage. We told them that we would not allow that. And therefore, but that would be where it would be located. That's number one. Number two, do you think that a company, unless they do what Mr. Harling had said right there, about building it above the level of the flood plain, do you think any company is going to spend that kind of, I mean, that's millions of dollars, and probably would not get insurance on it because of being at ground level in a flood zone? I don't think they would do that.
well, I think that they're addressing it by Steve pointing out that if someone did want to do that, a company did, they would have to build above right there, it's saying, yeah, the companies would look into it.
They would
and
look
they would
into
have
it,
to take into, so
and they
if-
could possibly get insurance that way, but to do it right at ground level,
So there's
now you're adding more money into it, so
There-
the feasibility. But
so-
once again, are we going to have another major project going in where they would have a battery or energy storage unit nearby?
So
I
you-
think not.
But you just pointed out that the possibility is there, and this is if we add the optional language, we
Yeah.
can nip that in the butt. And there's another reason why to go with the optional language. You
And
just pointed it
Could
out.
I
I don't know why you're
interject?
even talking about energy storage units when that wasn't even in the language. You pointed out it was hospitals and
Yes, it was.
fire and so on and so forth.
I will pull it up again. And
Okay, any other discussion?
so
I just
So
asked, any other discussion?
yes, I would like my question answered by the board of if we don't want this language in there, why not?
Their recommendation was not to put it in. And as I read this without the additional optional language when I made this proposal, this motion,
Okay,
so
to clarify,
to go to a vote,
hold on. To clarify, you are saying your recommendation is not to put the language.
correct.
Wait, see, let her talk.
Our recommendation has, along with DEC, that it is not necessary for this town and it does not need to go through the extra process of asking the state for permission because it's not necessary. As what has been said, this is not our only law dealing with permitting things, especially batteries specifically. We have a battery energy storage law. Developers still have to get permits. That is still a factor. That would certainly be a factor if anyone is trying to build a flood damage prevention law or floodplain. Understand what I'm saying. So there are other laws that we have that cover this. There are other laws that DEC has that covers this. There are state and local. They did not think that we needed this additional language because of our flood maps and things and because of the process. So that was my recommendation. And truthfully, it's been talked about all again and again how much we've built on this, but there's still been questions, and like none of these questions were asked before this meeting. There's a whole month to talk about the wording, and that, I did not get specific questions or asked to come to the workshop.
No, because I don't think we'll be getting it because of the cost associated with asking questions. That's one of the problems here that we talked about earlier.
But you're looking to build additional cost into the future, proposing with the additional language.
No,
Also, that
we were
on
talking about changing it back. That would be the additional cost.
on July 25th of this year, the state updated its fire safety codes for battery energy storage systems that made them more strict than the federal mandates. So, federal, as per if you take a look at our law, it states in there that the federal law and the state law is more substantial. We have to follow their laws as well. Our law isn't as tight. You want to do something about battery energy storage systems? Then let's take a look at our law and let's work on that and modify that to make that more strict. Then you're going right straight to what you're talking about. Put in there, you cannot build an energy storage unit in a floodplain, period. Cut and dry.
This is okay, and you're just saying this is the first. That would be the first step that we could do right now. We could do that.
No.
But
Two separate laws.
Let me finish this up. So I am just going to finish up by saying I think the extra language is worth it. I think it protects us against battery energy storage, is what the comprehensive plan said they want protection. I think it helps with making another one that makes the excavation and putting things back the way they were, and just another layer of protection. And your only reason you've given me is that the lawyers say that's the way that we should go, our local lawyer. I will remind you that it was the same local lawyer that said we don't need to, not the same, it was Bridget O'Toole that said we don't need to send a letter because there's no way ORES is going to approve it to be a minor modification. There's too many things against it. And it was wrong. And I went, and she said she had egg on her face. Just pointing that out again, that I'm hopefully not the same thing will happen. You guys can go ahead and vote the way you'd like.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor of adopting local law number 2 without the additional optional language? All in favor? Opposed?
No.
So carried. Okay, introduction of local law number 3, tax cap override. Local law to override the tax cap limit in General Municipal Law 3-C being enacted by the Town Board, Town of Barry as follows. It is the intent of this local law to override the limit of the amount of the real property taxes that may be levied by the Town of Barry pursuant to General Municipal Law 3-C, and to allow the Town of Barry to adopt a budget for the fiscal year of 2026 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law, 3-C. Do I hear a second? Thank you, Dave. Okay, discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay. We need to set a date and time for the public hearing on the tax cap for 2026 budget. I am offering up 6:40 on November 12th as an option for that. This is just a public hearing on the tax cap for the 2026 budget. How does that sound, everybody? November 12th, yes. Which is our next board meeting. Okay. So, do I hear a motion to have the public hearing for the tax cap for 2026 budget at 6:40 on November 12th? Do I hear a second? Margaret seconds. All in favor? I made the motion. Once again, all in favor? Soon. Yeah, yeah. Okay, any opposed? So carried. Okay, next, we have to set a date for the public hearing on the 2026 budget.
I think you have to do seeker for local law number 3. You just did intro and public hearing, but you've got to be lead agency and classify it as unlisted.
Okay, we'll do that at the, yeah,
Oh, for like next meeting?
yeah. No, we just did the
You-
secret today. We introduced last
Yeah,
month.
I mean, I guess you can, but wouldn't you also want it to go to the county? The 239M? Yeah, with the introduction, we always then classify it and do lead agency, and then you do like the declaration and adoption at the secondary. Yeah. It's just, I would just make a motion to be lead agency and unlisted on the local law and make a motion to refer it to county planning.
Okay. What Bridget said. You get all that, Maureen? For us to be the lead agency? Local law number 3, having to do with the tax override. I'll make the motions. Kirk, second. Yeah. And lead agency, yeah.
I'd prefer separate because one's 239M and one is seeker. They're two different obligations.
Okay, to send it to county. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Now, that motion has to do with us being the lead agency
Being lead agency and classifying it as an unlisted action.
as an unlisted action. Okay. Second? Dave seconds. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay. Make a resolution for setting the date for the public hearing for the 2026 budget. 6:45 on November 12th. Do I hear a second? Kirk seconds. Discussion, everybody set with that? All in favor? Opposed? So carried. Okay. Financials. Expenditures for the town in September, the average should equal about 74.97. 74%. We may as well say 75%. General fund, year to date, the town is at 71.47%, and the highway is at 72.15%. So far, we are under what the average would be at this time. Highway, I got, everybody get a copy? No problem. Needs my signature too? No questions on Dale's? The guys have been busy by the looks of it with shared services, including the counties of Orlean and Genesee. Okay. Town clerk, I guess you gave the report. You gave my office that report. I'm going to back up a minute to you, Dale. You and I have that meeting coming up on Tuesday with the mayor of the town or the village of Oakfield, having to do with the water system. Do you want to share that information? It's on the reading system. Just speak louder, because you're not coming across. Your battery must be shot too. Well, he was very receptive to it. He got a hold of his two people that deal with their water and called me right back and said, "What date can we meet?" So we set it up right away. They're very receptive. It's going to save them money by taking us on. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to back up to that just so that people are aware of it. Now, well, you talk loud enough. It's Maureen that I don't think we got anything on. Okay, assessor's report. The update is going well so far. I have spent most of September analyzing sale data for the town and surrounding towns so I can pull more sales if needed. The town of Barry is pretty small, so not all building styles will have enough sale data. Hi, Kathy. Building styles will have enough sale data, so I pull sales from surrounding towns that mirror the sales here in Barry. I am finishing up with my model and will start running properties this month. Once again, if anybody has any questions or concerns, please contact Alexis Penna at 589-5400, which is down in the county office building. Code Enforcement Officer Jared Hicks. Since last meeting, he has closed out the following permits: garage reframe on Mix Road, deck on Maple Street, pole barn addition on Oak Orchard Road, shed on Root Road, pole barn on Mix Road, manufactured home on West Lee Road. He has also issued the following permits: a detached garage on Angevine Road, pole barn on Alice Road, cell tower work on West County House Road, and sign permit for a temporary sign on Quaker Hill Road. Along with that, there is a land subdivision coming to the planning board this month for Pusey Road. He is also signing up for the code update class at the end of October that will be going over the new changes. Remember, we talked about that where in our budget where we're buying the new code books that they're finally publishing. Any questions, please reach out to Jared Hicks. Notice one thing, he's closing out a lot of these are old ones that have been sitting open for years. Planning board. Next Monday, and there's the land separation and something else is in there? No? Just that? Just the land separation? Yeah, I thought sure that was coming up next Monday. Okay. Zoning board. Nothing. Your favorite topic? David? Uh-uh. I hated doing that myself. Utilities. Once again, David. Dave, close to your mic. I just noticed you're not registered. Okay. I think there was something I sent you back a week or so ago also. Something out of NYSERDA on electric companies. Okay. Okay. Ms. Cook, any final words of wisdom?
Just two things. I'll be at the planning board meeting Monday, helping them with the land separation application. And then just back to Water District 10, we are going through the documents that RD wanted. Getting the grant agreement is great, but a big chunk of what's outstanding is the bond stuff. So we just have to get in touch with the bond attorney and get that stuff going so we can complete RD's
Yeah, I've
request.
heard, I think you asked me a week ago, and I've heard nothing from them yet.
Yeah, I know we reached out and we also haven't heard anything, but
Okay.
just wanted to update that that's majority of what's left for that.
Very good. Mr. Ike, any words of wisdom from the great illustrious county of Orleans? who's planning on giving us mega bucks, seeing how they cut back on our tax money. Put over the 2%. The state does it. County can do it too. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Anything else? Do I hear a motion then to adjourn? Do I hear a second, Margaret? Margaret seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Good night, everyone, and thank you.